give a fuck about the FBI. I don't give a fuck about the CIA. I don't give a fuck about the I don't give a fuck about shit, man. We're getting pulled over. Hold on. Shit, roll down the window. Hold on a second. You got a cigarette? Hold on a second.
May I see your driver's license and registration?
Certainly.
What you doing?
Chewing chocolate.
Where'd you get it?
Doggy dropped it.
Carry on.
Soon I discovered that this rock thing was true. Jesus was the devil. All of a sudden, I found myself in love with the world. So there was only one thing that I could do was ding a ding dang, my dang along ling long.
There's no use. I've been stuffed in your pocket for the last 100 days. When I don't get my bath, I take it out on the slaves. So grease up your baby for the ball on the hill. I'll polish them rockets now and swallow those pills and say, oh. Space Lord, mother. Huh. Uh-huh. There's a car in the field now in a collar of flame. With 2 doors to choose, but only one bears your name. You've been drinking my blood, well, I've been licking your wounds. Well, I shave off the pitch now and the scope of your tune. You'll sing, oh. Space Lord, mother. Huh. Yeah. I'm in my throne a million miles away. I drink from your head, I sing your blues every day. Now give me the strength to split the world in two, yeah. I ate all the rest and now I've gotta eat you. Well, I said, milking my nightmares, using my name. You're sober my cortex when you know I'm insane. I squeezed out in overdrive, I'm drowning in love. I encompass a mortal position above and sing, oh. Space Lord, mother. Yeah! I left my throne a million miles away. I drink from your head, I sing your blues every day. Now give me the strength to split the world in two, yeah. I ate all the rest, and now I gotta eat you. Well, I say, space Lord, motherfucker.
All right. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. Oh, shit. Where'd that go? There we go. God damn it. Hi. Good morning. How's everybody? Welcome to Slow News Day Morning Edition. My name is Steve Poikinen, and I am back on the farm. So the video quality, maybe, probably not. Wow, do we have a cool show today? We're going to be joined by former Redacted Tonight correspondent John F. O'Donnell here in about 15 or 20 minutes or so. It's going to be a wonderful talk. Holy crap. I'm looking forward to that. Lots to talk about and lots to go through today. There's also the possibility that we're going to get a breaking update with the Rittenhouse verdict. I'm not going to be watching that super close, but if somebody throws it at me, I'll be happy to put it up on the screen. Can't do a number of the stories on YouTube this morning. Let's run through the business first. Anyway, the show is sponsored by Matrix Bars. That's the QR code up in the corner right there. Matrix Bars are 3.5 grams of psilocybin mushrooms in a delicious chocolate bar. This is the strawberries and cream flavor. I don't like strawberries and cream. I think it's an abomination. That as a flavor combination should not exist in nature, and yet yummy. Like, it's yummy. It shouldn't be. And it is. and it has mushrooms in it, so it's an extra bonus. You can get your very own by scanning that QR code in the corner of the screen there, waiting for the White Rabbit to show up, or you can DM them directly on Twitter or Instagram at Matrix Genetics, MatrixGenetics. The show itself is funded entirely by you guys. You guys power the show. You curate a decent chunk of the content. You're why this whole thing works, and we can't do it without you. We have our GoFundMe up for this month. I will drop those links into the chat. Definitely do need the support and appreciate it. So there's that guy. Go over and drop it into the Rockfin. What's up, everybody, over on the Rockfin Odyssey D Live? I suppose Twitch, even though it's a Bezos platform. I do want to thank everyone for supporting us on somewhere other than YouTube, seeing as how they censor our content, roll back our view counts, take away our subscribers, disallow us to monetize, and channel strikes, all that bullshit. So I would encourage you to break free from the FedTube chains and watch us on a platform that encourages free speech. Erie Fairy, good morning. Morning to everybody in the YouTube chat. Barbara, John, Charlie Brown's Rebellion, Steve Cutler, big shout out. I am there's an empty spot in my soul, Steve Cutler, and it's because I haven't got a drop in with, hey, made a graphic, and I'm sad. And if I've undervalued you, my friend, I want to rectify that, because I do appreciate the random artwork. Let's jump right into it with a couple of the stories that I'm allowed to do on YouTube. Holy fuck, that's ridiculous. That's a stupid thing to say. I can't believe that's the thing that I'm saying. Oh, and by the way, I do hope everyone enjoyed the Butthole Surfers in the Ministry this morning. It was necessary for me. I kind of feel like a little bit of ministry is necessary on the regular. Let's see. Going to, what do I want to do first? What is that? That's Piers. Yeah, let's do this. Spying on employees in the workplace is, well, it's a time-honored tradition, but in the era of COVID-19 84 and lockdowns, the madness that has ensued as we lay the groundwork for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the Great Reset, the complete commodification of nature, and the total surveillance of all organic matter, it's kind of important to go into this. Despite, is out of the LA Times, despite evidence that working from home has not diminished U.S. productivity during the pandemic, U.S. employers are increasingly turning to monitoring software that can track workers' keystrokes, log active hours, take regular screenshots, and even activate a webcam. That's right. Your boss is Big Brother, and many companies may be using such tracking systems without worker knowledge. Gartner, a technology research and consultant firm, estimates that 60% of large corporations now employ monitoring software, double the share of early last year. TerraMind, a Miami-based provider of employee monitoring software, said that before the pandemic, about 70% of its sales came from companies concerned about security, and 30% came from those focused on worker productivity. That balance has flipped. We have to track and monitor your every movement so that we can come up with ways to make you a more productive worker. No, we're not going to pay you anymore. No, you're not going to get any benefits. Healthcare, sure, we'll give you healthcare. It's got a $20,000 a year copay. Have that. Have fun. Knock yourself out, buddy. By the way, not only are you not making more money, but because of inflation, thus knocking at the door of hyperinflation, your money is going to continue to become more and more worthless. But hey, we're watching everything you do, so you got that going for you. Most surveys and economic reports show that U.S. productivity did not suffer when American workers began doing their jobs from home. That's because most jobs are fucking nonsense, especially office jobs where you're packing 800 people into a fucking climate-controlled box so everybody can stare at the same screen and send interdepartmental fucking emails to each other, talk about Cheryl from accounting and bullshit. That's not work. It's not, dude. We've got people with nothing to fucking do. Of course, productivity didn't change much. All these fucks were goofing around on Twitter anyway. Yet U.S. productivity growth since the health crisis has run at more than double the rate it had in the decade before the spread of COVID. People are working harder and longer. That's what they're saying. But if you have a job, then you probably have two. If you are self-employed, you probably have 3 jobs and your side hustle, and your side hustle has a side hustle. Yeah. For more than 85% of employers, work from home efficiency met or exceeded their expectations, with half of these companies saying it had been substantially or hugely better, according to research work by economists at Stanford and the University of Chicago. Let's see. Many companies justify the surveillance on grounds that it helps them improve employees' performance. Funny how 24-hour surveillance will make someone feel like they don't have the right to take a breath or take a break or any of that shit. Elizabeth Hartz, chief executive of InterGuard, said her firm's monitoring tools can help managers identify burnout. That's what you're looking for. Overwork and tasks where people may be getting stuck. That's why we have to have the cameras on you and audio feed up on you the entire time you're at work, because we're concerned you might get burnt out. Now, we haven't incorporated the fact that a totalitarian surveillance organization passing as your job might cause some burnout. Anywho, smile, you're on camera. A category that started more as perhaps the Big Brother notion is evolving to be much more positive, transparent, helpful to both employers and employees, she said. She's a fucking idiot. ExpressVPN, in a recent study with Pollfish, found that 1 in 5 employers aren't likely to tell employees about installing monitoring software. There's a significant gap between what employers are actively monitoring and what employees think their employers are monitoring. When the pandemic shut down the Atlanta offices of Floyd County Productions last year, Jennifer Garcia suddenly found herself working full-time from home. She and her coworkers were notified in May 2020 that Floyd, an animation studio, was employing a new app to facilitate remote work and that it was being loaded onto work computers. Garcia is an IT specialist, said she wasn't happy when she learned that software could track employee activity and take screenshots without alerting workers. She took extra precautions when looking at personal emails and other private material on her work computer. In April, Garcia quit after nearly 10 years with the studio, in part because she didn't trust how the company might use the new software applications. Because I have a bit more technical knowledge, I was able to set up a system where I could switch very quickly between different computers and not be slowed down. But I can see how if you're not as technically inclined, or maybe you don't have an extra computer at home you could use for personal stuff, you're just kind of subject to the whims of your employer. Patrick Piper, director of business affairs of Floyd County Productions, said the company does not perform any micro-monitoring of day-to-day employee activity. Bullshit and lies, because if you're spying on people, you want to see what they're doing. The whole reason that you install monitoring software is so you can, I don't know, monitor the people there.
Hey, just a side note, it's like they install the same fucking software onto your kids' laptops for when they were doing all that
for school.
Learning. Yeah. So
yeah,
great.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Every like, oh, you can get a discount Chromebook for your kid.
It's gross.
This was an episode of Person of Interest. This was. where the rival AI overlord and the human agents that carried out its agenda were trying to put all of the new AI software onto every single laptop that was going out to schools, and it was like a government program and mandatory, and all of these things are going. We're there. We're there. Moving on, we got a couple of minutes before John gets here. Maybe a smart me would. Okay, groovy. So this thing happened. You guys remember? And we can actually pull up, I think, some of that god awful Ted Cruz shit. You guys remember this, right? Merrick Garland signed off on a memo that would allow the FBI to target the parents of school children as domestic terrorists because of their opinions on forced vaccination or critical race theory. Didn't go great for Merrick Garland. An FBI whistleblower has come forward in recent days. We're going to get into that. I am going to quickly bring up and play through some of this exchange between Ted Cruz and Merrick Garland.
Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For 8 years under Barack Obama, the Department of Justice was politicized and weaponized. When you came before this committee in your confirmation hearing, you promised things would be different. I asked you specifically, quote, will you commit to this committee that under your leadership, the Department of Justice will not target the political opponents of this administration? Here was your answer, quote, absolutely. It's totally inappropriate for the department to target any individual because of their politics or their position in a campaign. That was your promise just a few months ago. I'm sorry to say you have broken that promise. There is a difference between law and politics.
I don't think Ted Cruz is actually sorry. I think Ted Cruz recognizes this as a moment to do some political grandstanding. And boy, howdy, is he about to stand grand.
And General Garland, you know the difference between law and politics. Law is based on facts. It is impartial. It is not used as a tool of political retribution. This memo was not law. This memo was politics. On Wednesday, September 29th, the National School Board Association wrote a letter to the president asking the president to use the Department of Justice to target parents that were upset at critical race theory, that were upset at mask mandates in schools, to target them as domestic terrorists. On the face of the letter was in.
Just look at Merrick Garland's face. Now, he wears that face through the entire 9.5 minutes of this exchange. I am not going to play the full 10 minutes of it. But what I am going to do is try to get to some of Garland's, I guess, statements.
In the letter, which you told the House of Representatives was the basis for this abusive memo targeting parents, how many incidents are cited in that memo?
I have to look back through the memo. I can't count it.
You don't know. How many of them were violent?
Again, the general report.
How many of them were violent? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know. And there's a reason you don't know. Because you didn't care, and nobody in your office cared to find out. I did a quick count just sitting here. During this hearing, I counted 20 incidents cited. Of the 20, 15 on their face are nonviolent. They involve things like insults. They involve a Nazi salute. That's one of the examples. My God, a parent did a Nazi salute at a school board because he thought the policies were oppressive. General Garland is doing a Nazi salute at an elected official. Is that protected by the First Amendment?
Yes, it is.
Okay. 15 of the 20 on the face of it are not violent. They're not threats of violence. They're parents who are unhappy. Yet, miraculously, when you write a memo, the opening line of your memo, in recent months, there has been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence. You know what? You didn't look, and nobody on your staff looked. Did you even look up the 20 instances?
As I testified, the decision to send the memo is for an assessment.
Did you look up the 20 instances?
I love this because Merrick Garland is one of my least favorite characters over the last several years of, I guess corporate plant justices and judges. And as much as I despise the Zodiac killer, holy crap, does he work this dude over? I will circle back to this and why I'm playing it, and we can talk about the new FBI whistleblower here in a few. But I would like to introduce to the show for the first time former Redacted Tonight correspondent, stand-up comedian, host of Take Your Pills podcast, John F. O'Donnell. Hey there, man.
Hey, man. How are you?
I'm all right. It is fantastic to meet you and to have you on the show. Welcome and let's talk some crazy shit, my friend.
It sounds good. I'm psyched to be here, man. I love the work that you're doing.
I appreciate that very much, man. I do. It's a really weird.
You did just
game.
Make me root for Ted Cruz.
I
hate
I don't
that.
feel like
I hate
we
being
have
on the
to.
same side as the Zodiac killer, man. You know what I mean? Like, how fucking twisted has this COVID clown world become that I'm like, yeah, Teddy Cruz, take out Merrick Garland. Ugh. And I know he's just grandstanding. You're right. But still, fuck.
I mean, so the way that when I justify this to me, when I rationalize it to myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm not agreeing with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is agreeing with me. Ted Cruz came around to my way of thinking on this particular issue, whereas the vast majority of the time, he looks like a bloated version of Bob from Bob's Burgers, and is about as smart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But his debate skills are on point. That guy, he can handle himself, in that particular setting. So it makes for interesting sport. I realize the majority of it is a distraction, but when it comes to the FBI targeting parents in school, just for their opinions over either forced inoculation or critical race theory, the FBI should not be doing that, and Merrick Garland should be held to account for that. And even if it is Ted Cruz that's doing it, I'm sure Ted Cruz remembers that Merrick Garland was Chuck Grassley's pick for the Supreme Court when Barack Obama was tossing his name around, and that was supposed to be the compromise, but they punted on Merrick Garland because Hillary Clinton was supposed to be able to stack the Supreme Court. That was a gamble. They took it. They fell on their fucking faces. But now we're stuck with, I think, a relative of Mr. Peanut looking at the guy.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah. And that's the thing. And because it's Ted Cruz presenting that allows for that divide and conquer mentality, because anybody that hears it out of Ted Cruz's mouth is going to be like, oh, that guy's full of shit. And they're going to be dismissive of what he's saying, which reflectively is just like, yeah, the FBI should not be targeting parents who care about what's happening to their children's education. What the fuck?
And,
I will tell you.
Look, man.
Go ahead.
I got a lot of friends that have zero problems whatsoever with critical race theory or it being taught or the concepts of it. And I have a lot of friends that are vehemently opposed to it. And so it's wild to watch it come to a head in a congressional setting, because I don't we shouldn't even be there. The federal government, I don't believe, should be setting precedent for what gets taught in schools. But that's just a personal opinion. I don't know let me know what you think on that. And then tell me what you're going to say before I cut you off like an asshole.
No, not at all. I think that it's a real issue, but again, it seems like a big distraction. When you start looking at this whole global public-private partnership world, and you start looking at this fourth industrial revolution, you start looking at the Great Reset and all of that stuff, all of these other things that divide us across the left and right seem like such a distraction, where it's like, no, we really all need to realize that there is a techno-fascist takeover afoot, and that transcends the left-right thing. And we really all need to get together in order to push back against this. It's a global agenda, so we need a global movement to push back against it. And everything else to me seems like a distraction. But one thing I want to say is that one time when I was in Redacted, I covered CPAC. It was like the Conservative Public Action Conference thing, and Ted Cruz was speaking there, and he's the son of a preacher, and holy shit, that dude knows how to rile up his base. It was unbelievable. It was like watching like a Baptist minister just like make like whir everybody up into a frenzy. It was unreal. And he went on after Marco Rubio, and he made Marco Rubio look like a total chump. It was crazy. I was like, oh my God, dude.
Was this 2019 or 2020? Do you remember?
I think this was probably 2017 or something.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
maybe 2018.
We were at CPAC in 2020 for a day and a night. Because we were in town for the Assange, we were doing events for the Assange hearing. And we hit up a night of CPAC. We hit up a night there. Alex Jones threw an emergency free speech summit because Roger Stone had gotten convicted. He was going to go to prison. We had to stop it. We had to stop the globalists. And so he threw a thing for Roger Stone. We crashed it. We flipped it, turned the whole event into a free Assange rally. It was really weird. It was. I was walking around this giant hotel, and all the grounds outside. I was on acid. I was not going to go to Alex Jones's emergency free speech summit not tripping. I mean, I thought this was America.
It's just common sense, man.
Bro, it was crazy. Drunk Lee Stranahan blew my fucking mind that night. And he had like just got out of rehab like 2 weeks earlier and got out of rehab. It was like, yeah, no, fuck it. I'm going right back and I'm going hard. And like, oh my God, dude, he was cracking me up, man. What's his name? From the National File. It's not Josh. It might be Josh or Philip Howley. I can't remember which, but I mean that dude was in rare form. Cassandra Fairbanks had like this massive platinum fucking pistol on a chain that she was rocking. Like, dude, it was a wild fucking night. It really was.
This sounds like a wild scene, man.
We've got some John F. O'Donnell people in the chat.
Right on.
Good to see.
Right on. Yeah, that's cool. I feel like the Redactivists, that's what we call the Redacted Tonight fans. I feel like there's a lot of folks that have connected with my work and stuff like that I feel like I would love to be connected with. You know, I feel like I have a scattered folks that dig my work. You know what I mean? So it's always nice to connect with people.
No, it's the voice you hear is Sleepy Josh. He's our producer and our tech ninja.
Oh, cool. Hey, Josh, what's up, man?
Nice to meet you.
You as well.
I drove by Josh's house yesterday to drop off the t-shirt, and we were talking about you being on today. And Josh echoed my sentiment that like the vast majority of the reason we were watching that show was for your segments. So thank you, for all of that. Before we get into like most of what I want to talk about, I feel like we should jump off of YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Rockfin link, put it in the YouTube chat. If you are watching us on YouTube, why? They censor our content, they demonetize us, they roll back our view counts, they take away our subscribers. Watch us on platforms that encourage free speech, critical thinking, and allow us to pay the bills. You do not need a Rockfin account to watch the stream. Just click the link. If you want to participate in the chat, you can make a free account. If you love what we do and you want to endorse the channel, it's $9.99 a month, and you get all of the paywalled content on the platform. It's a great way to support your favorite content creators and get your news about 6 to 12 months early. is essentially how this goes. If you want to get your news on the front end, you watch us over on Rockfin. You want to wait for mainstream media or the affiliates in indie media to come around to it, give yourself a year. We love you guys over on the YouTubes, even though we talk shit on the platform. And we'll see you over on the Rockfin.